And we are into game number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, picks and bans for the Pro Draft has started. We want to welcome you everyone again. I'm Jake Kelton, joined by Frico, and this is the best of 5 semifinal series for the Amateur League Invitational. And these games, if they went anything like game 1 went, we might not be here all that long. I was hoping it would be here a little bit longer and get some more hype plays out. However, with this Karthus band away by the side of the Tortugas, maybe game 2 will look a little bit different, as they're also going to take away the Cassiopeia from game 1.
Yeah, not a big surprise that Karthus was the first ban from the Tortugas side. While not having blue side, Tortugas absolutely have to ban the Karthus away in any subsequent game that they're going to be on the red side. If they're blue side, they could leave it open, potentially take it for themselves.
Right.
I truly think Karthus is that strong right now.
Well, he will be banned away this game, and we'll see if it actually impacts the game, as the Tortugas seem to struggle in all lanes. Now, I will say the one lane that seemed to do a little bit okay was at Darius on the top side while he was down in CS, and he was certainly struggling. It wasn't nearly like those other lanes, that things were definitely on the losing side. And Aatrox leaving lane 0-0-1, that's not that bad. That's actually, if your opponent leaves the lane 0-0-1, you've done an okay job kind of just holding your own in that lane. We'll see if Taiho this game can do something similar, as Tortugas lock in the Twisted Fate and the Hecarim. Now, I've been doing some analyzation on League of Legends. I try to follow the meta. I try to keep up with, who's strong and who's weak. And the person that never shows up in any of my research is Twisted Fate. What is this? Oh, wait. Okay, never mind. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Pro Draft. This is Pro Draft trolling the casters. Excuse me, I have been informed that it is actually the Sivir that is locked in. It's a graphical error. Pro Draft, we hate you and love you. Please never change. So it's a Sivir Hecarim for the side of the Tortugas, again prioritizing this bottom lane, and they will be playing that Sivir into a Jinx paired with that Morgana, as Skarner gets locked in by Iridescence, maybe feeling a little like Team Liquid.
Now, here I was going to start to give some quality analysis on how Twisted Fate has a little bit of a range advantage against potentially a counter pick to the mid Morgana that was left open for Iridescence because Cassiopeia was banned out instead of Morgana. But in a more important news, the Tortugas have seemingly taken my advice and gone for a much more aggressive jungler in the Hecarim as well.
Yeah, high mobility, and again, able to play around the bottom side a lot better. It's actually a pretty good way to get into that bottom lane, running through the Tribe Rush, getting behind your opponents, knocking them into the team down there. And I love the Braum pickup. We've seen him throughout the series last weekend, and now tonight we'll see if he can be super impactful. Not only does he have that great ultimate AoE knockup, but that Unbreakable Shield basically nullifies almost all Jinx's damage, including her ultimate.
Yeah, that's, we're seeing a lot of upgrades on the side of Tortugas in their picks, stealing away the Sivir from Iridescence. We'll see with Iridescence's last pick if Morgana is going to be a support or a mid lane Morgana. To be honest, I could see it either way. The Vladimir, all but certain to put Morgana in the support role.
Well, that's the thing that I like about Iridescence, is that they can draft themselves a composition that plays towards that later stage of the game, but they can also pull something like this Skarner for the early game picks. He's going to be able to allow the team to kind of scale easily through the mid-game into the later stage game when a Vladimir can truly take over. It's going to be countered by the Tortugas with that Maokai on the top side of the map. He's a good magic resist champion, so we'll see how he handles that Vladimir as we are into the official picks and bans. You can start to break down both of these teams, their compositions. I don't know. The Tortugas, they seem to have themselves a little bit of a better team composition and have some better picks. My worry, though, is that last game, they also seem to have some pretty good picks, and they kind of fell flat. So there just needs to be something magical from the Tortugas to come out this game to make me feel truly confident in them getting a reverse sweep this game.
Well, Iridescence has another a jungler on their side in Skarner that's going to force a couple members of Tortuga to pay the QSS tax. If the Twisted Fate is in fact a Sivir, she will have the spell shield potentially to stop Skarner's nonsense, but I really like Iridescence's draft this time around. I'm not a fan of the Maokai last pick, but to be honest with you, I'm at a loss to try to find a better pick in what should be the top lane for the Tortugas. Darius was left open. I think, as you said previously, Darius didn't really do, well, I guess as bad as the rest of the laners in the first game, but there's a lot of other external factors to that as well.
Well, and that's something when you're talking about that Maokai, is the fact that if you take a note, Kennen to Vladimir, they could be swapped. As we're seeing on screen right now, it's a Kennen in the top lane, Vladimir mid. So it's actually the Vladimir being against the Ahri. And again, when you're looking at those two, you know that Ahri's got some pretty good burst potential. She's got a great charm. However, Vladimir's pool can negate a lot of that engage and a lot of that damage. And Maokai on the top side, a fairly immobile champion, into a really heavy CC Kennen, who's got so many stuns with that Slicing Maelstrom, as well as the shock passive, just freezing you in place. I don't know how Maokai is going to be able to do melee into range, tank into damage, low mobility into high CC, and then you've got the Ahri in the mid lane versus Vladimir. I want to say that Tortugas just got outdrafted this game.
I think, well, having a little bit of time to think about it, I would have preferred potentially a Jace in the top lane. I don't know if that's one of Taiho's champions that he plays very often. I would have liked something a little more aggressive to match the Kennen instead of what feels like fundamentally conceding the lane by going, okay, I'm going to have a Maokai, and about the most productive thing in lane I'm going to be able to do is try to stay between my turret and the brush and just throw Saprolings into the brush to try to stem the Kennen from taking down the top turret.
Yeah, it's stem the tide that'll eventually still hit you anyway, because when you're looking at that for Taiho in that top lane, well, the things that I was rolling through my head was, you know, okay, you look at the composition, you say they got one semi-tank with that Braum, he's going to be a bit beefy, but again, all supports are a little bit gold-starved, so he's not going to be super beefy. We still want someone else to be a strong top laner, strong front line. What do we pick? What do we pick? What do we pick? Maybe a super late-game tank like the Nasus, banned away. Maybe the Scion, because he scales no matter what, banned. And so you can see the side of Iridescence. You knew that was coming into the minds of the Tortugas. You knew that that's where they were going. We want something tanky to be that frontline beef, and now they are left with the scraps of that Maokai. An alternative to maybe consider, again, if it's in Taiho's pool, would have been an Alawi, someone that can have really, really strong 5v5 teamfight presence, also has the capability of split pushing, has good range damage, and the ability to jump in onto the Kennen, plus gets heals to deal with Kennen's damage, so can overall at least fight for the top lane, whereas, as you said, that Maokai just going to concede a lot of that pressure up there. Before we get too much further, let's run through the players. This time, seeing who they've locked in. On the blue side, Iridescence, they've got Yasuo locking in the Kennen for the top lane, Yogurt with the Skarner in the jungle, Dodo with the Vladimir in the mid lane, Carry taking the Jinx in the AD carry role, and Tide on the Morgana in the support.
Yeah, for the Tortugas, as we've been talking rather extensively, we have Taiho on the Maokai in the top lane, Savato piloting Hecarim as our jungler, Grey Anatomy on the Ahri in the mid lane, Pants on the Sivir, and it looks like bot lane party time looking to cause a bot lane party time with Braum.
Alright, so we talked a little bit about the side of the Tortugas, but now let's look at Iridescence. Their team, heavy pick favor with the Morgana, the Jinx, the Skarner. They've got some really good pick potential. They got some pretty strong CC, and they have late game into Vladimir. They are looking incredibly good this game.
Yeah, I like I said right off the bat, I really like Iridescence's draft this time around. You still got to play the game, but, if we have the draft to look at, I think we can say Iridescence won the draft. I don't think that's too much of a stretch, but, again, we have to play the games. Hecarim, if Kennen gets a little too out of line, being piloted by Yasuo, Hecarim could get himself going by trying to push that top lane back into the Tortugas' favor.
That's what I was going to say. That Hecarim could be a key for the side of the Tortugas. The ability to actually make plays and the aggression in the early game. Skarner, he does have a little bit of CC and a bit of damage, but definitely wants to be able to pick up that level 6. Wants that Impale for those engages, grab those picks. But for the side of the Tortugas, Hecarim, all he's got to do is be a speedy boy, and he'll be making those plays. Now, Savado last game didn't have the greatest game. His target selection on lanes wasn't the best. We'll see if this game he can do a little bit better, and what makes it easier is if most of your team is getting pushed underneath your turrets. So maybe this game, the fact that Iridescence have built themselves a pretty good composition, should be able to push a lot of these lanes, might actually be a favor for the Hecarim.
Well, I don't know. Vladimir, I can't see being able to gank him. He pulls out of almost all the trouble. Ahri is going to have to set that up by potentially trying to force a pull from Vladimir with a charm. Hecarim potentially being able to come from an interesting angle from perhaps the top side, forcing Vladimir back into the lane out from basically underneath his own turret early on. That's about the only way I can see Hecarim affecting the mid lane. Morgana landing a binding could potentially stop Hecarim in his tracks before he ever has a chance to charge into the bot lane. A little too much risk to the reward for Hecarim, I think, going into the mid or bot lane.
Well, you gotta go somewhere. You can't just be running in circles in the jungle, otherwise your team might just fall apart. However, this is a start for the side of the Tortugas. Can they find themselves an edge in this game and take that edge into a victory? We'll find out here in game number 2, the Amateur Invitational League. Amateur League Invitational. Ooh. I'll get it right one day. Don't you worry.
Oh, that's all right. We've got game 3 for that, hopefully. But
yeah, no matter what, we're definitely going to have 3 games. So maybe game 3 I can slide through without making any issues.
I have hope that the third time will be the charm for you.
Speaking of charm, Ahri does have charm, and she can use that. Sorry, I was just trying to find some way to segue into the game itself, which I didn't need to. I did want to take a note out of Enchanted Gaming from the Twitch chat's book and say there is going to eventually be, or at least you would hope to see, that Skarner tax being paid by the Tortugas. They need to be able to pick up those QSSs on the squishier champions like the Sivir, like the Ahri, especially considering that they didn't run the cleanse, which sometimes into certain compositions and certain champions, I do see people take cleanse simply because it can be that good to get out of whatever CC is coming through. Neither of those carries took the cleanse, which means they'll probably have to pay the QSS tax eventually.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Taiho probably would have been better served with the cleanse over the teleport, but, it's stylistic. Braum, you definitely want to have the ignite. You don't want to get rid of the heal on the Sivir, so it's just an unfortunate, you're just going to have to pay the tax one way or the other in a summoner spell or a QSS-like ability.
Yeah, we'll see what they decide to do and how long it takes them to be able to actually find that. As a little bit of skirmishing on the bottom side of the map, not going to do that much. I believe that Sivir actually wins out in the wave pressure, simply because she doesn't have to burn much mana to be able to get those boomerangs bouncing through the minion wave and clear that up quick if they want to push. And that's the big question. And what it comes down to this game is, what do these teams actually want to do when it comes to the lanes? Do they want to try to shove in and grab those plates? Or do they just want to sit back like the Maokai is kind of being forced to do on this top side and just try to farm as much CS as he can from a distance?
Well, Maokai does have his passive, so every, let's say 16 seconds or so, once he gets past level 1, he'll be able to walk up, boop a minion, and do a little bit of damage plus sustain himself. But, he's already behind a level against the Kennen. Well, temporarily.
There he goes, hitting that level 3. He's actually doing an okay job of CSing underneath the turret. But again, something to watch up there in that top lane is the Maokai's mana. Doing a pretty good job keeping it up for the moment. However, eventually, he will be losing out on that if he's not careful with those spells. This Hecarim's coming around the top side, only level 3. The Maokai down underneath, 200 health, though. He's going to be going in, looking for the root. The cannon getting a little bit of damage. He's going to continue going in. However, the lightning rush not going to be able to get him out because Hecarim is here. Knocks him backwards. That's first blood, ladies and gentlemen, for Salvato. And the play to the bottom side of the map. The charm's going to miss onto the Morgana. However, the damage is still going to come through. The black shield was so well timed by Tide. Still turns around, finds the dark binding onto the Ahri. She's taking a lot of damage. The zap comes through. It's going to miss right between the goal keeps of the members of the Tortugas. And so they get out on that bottom side. A great roam by that Ahri. Losing on CS to the Vladimir in mid, though. So Hecarim's just going to come in and catch that wave.
Yeah, no points for that field goal for Carry with that Jinx trying to snipe either the Sivir or the Ahri. But Hecarim doing almost exactly what I figured he would need to do early on. I'm not too thrilled that Maokai is still in the lane. I figured he should have immediately got out of there, tried to get some kind of an item with the assist to 200 gold coming from it.
Yeah, he's going to be backing now. He does have TP to get back to the top lane, match the Kennen going up there, and being out of those corrupting potion stacks, he's going to need to be able to grab that to heal himself back up because he can't rely on his passive. Now, Hecarim is towards the bottom side of the map, but again, with them being kind of warded out, I don't think that he's that vested in coming down here after what we just saw. That said, though, Morgana did burn Flash, so he's going to be trying. Anyway, there's that dark binding you talked about. Caster prediction. Doing such a good job, Frico, with that, and he walks away.
Now, I'm not any good at this game anymore, but I certainly know, the strategy behind it. The unfortunate pitfalls of just getting old.
Hey, you get wise as you get old. Unlike me, who just still has too much hair, according to chat, because I can't possibly be Freak if I got too much hair going on. As Ken on the top side, level 5. Keep your eyes on that, because as soon as he hits level 6 and has that slicing Maelstrom, he may try to make a play onto that Maokai and finds self-control again in the top side. The flash forward from Braum. They're looking for the Morgana. The black shield is onto the 80 carry, so Morgana is the one they take down. Now Scarter speeding his way around the corner. We'll see if he can be just as fast as the Hecarim on the engage. Salvato gonna be in trouble. The cube from Braum, and he steps forward to say, "Get back! You are not touching my teammates." And so far this game, Team Tortugas is doing a fantastic job. They're still even in gold despite being 2 kills up, but they definitely seem like they're not going down without a fight.
Well, they're getting the kills, but they're, fundamentally getting forced out of CS in the mid lane and the top lane. And we're starting to see about an equal amount of what's essentially kills worth of gold showing up in the Kennen's favor and Vladimir's favor. Yeah,
and that's really difficult to deal with for both of those members, because once they secure an item or two, they can become monsters, not only in their own lane, but they can rotate and become team play monsters as well. You think about someone like a Jax in the top side. He gets a kill or two. He's really annoying to deal with on the split push side of things, but in a team fight, it's not that bad unless you hit 60 minutes into the game, and then he just kills everyone anyway. As Hecarim maybe looking for a play at the top side. The flash forward from Maokai. He's going to get the knockback as well. Hecarim charges. Slicing Maelstrom's out from the cannon, but it's a full health Hecarim. Salvato doesn't care. That's the smite. That's the auto attack. A 2-0 Hecarim to start the game off. Vladimir, though, going to try to punish in the mid lane as the Ahri down low in mana, but still staying up in health overall.
Yeah, Hecarim's looking to get his team on his back, quite literally. He's like, all right, well,
hop
I'm
on,
gonna
everyone.
Be a horse.
And the bottom side, both ADCs still about even in farm. Jinx a little bit ahead is returning to the lane, so we can take a look at the items that the ADCs have purchased. A BF sword each. Got that extra potion on the side of the Tortuga, so there's a little more sustain for the Sivir as Braum maybe trying to make a roam into the river, see if he can catch someone out yet again. This time though, Skarner going to shove him off, and now he's actually out of position a little bit. Skarner can come from behind. He's going to just go ahead and rejoin that Sivir after the mini wave comes through. Black, Dark Binding, excuse me, for the Morgana, not landing there.
Yeah, it looked like Hecarim just kind of going, all right, well, I'm the beast this game. I'm just going to show myself in the mid lane. Skarner was doing something, potentially trying to hit the dragon, but Skarner got off of that.
And speaking of the dragon, it is a mountain drake to start the game off. We saw it last game as some of the early drakes as well. Maybe that these teams are going to be using those for the neutral objectives, as there we go, the re-engage the top side. Yasuo going to be taking his sweet time on that cooldown as his death timer has been called. Skarner headed to the top side, see if he can help out, but he's just not quite as fast as that Hecarim so far this game. There's something to note though, when you got a sore spot and you keep punching it, you're not helping out the rest of the areas on the map, so they are really relying on getting Taiho through this laning phase so that he can actually be a beefy tank in the later stages of the game.
Well, we saw a ping there afterward. Once Skarner showed up and went, oh, nope, little too late for this. We saw Ahri roam up toward the top lane, and it looked like Taiho and Savato were not interested in trying to continue the fight on the Skarner. I'm somewhat surprised that we haven't seen a rotation from the Tortugas toward an objective, specifically the Mountain Drake.
Yeah, especially now that the Hecarim's down on the bottom side, we'll maybe see if that comes through. As the Morgana, though, going to be throwing out that Dark Binding and lands on the Hecarim. The Braum still going to be stepping forward, blows out that ultimate. Glacial Fissure looking at the Sivir for a moment. However, the play of the top side is Skarner coming in, trying to make Maokai get punished for all of his engages up there. He's going to be able to get a nice two-man knockback over Skarner. Flashes in, locks him down with the E. Goodbye, Maokai. Though you're pretty tanky, you're taking a little bit of time for the team to try to actually kill you. He gets the passive heal as well. However, he finally gets stunned up by the cannon. CC chains for days. This Taiho's going to root back to the cannon. He's trying to get through the minion wave. The Skarner will chase him down. Yogurt finally picks up the kill, even though it took about 14 minutes for that to happen. The rest of the team, though, Tortugas with the pressure on the bottom side of the map, can look for first strike of the game.
Yeah, cue up the yakety sacks for that one. That was an interesting pursuit of the Maokai there. Maokai getting a little aggressive and getting caught out by the Skarner.
Yeah, well, that's that level 7 now Skarner. He's had the Impale, so where do I want to use it? See if I can help out my Ken at the top side. I'll take the kill as well to make his day even that more tragic, as they are going to turn onto the Rift Herald and start that up. Should be able to secure it as no one's here to defend the Hecarim just coming out of the base for the side of Tortugas.
Yeah, with the Mountain Drake going over toward the Tortugas, trading the objective of the Rift Herald for Iridescence is definitely a wise play. Hecarim's getting a little too frisky here, I think.
Oh,
potentially Yasuo getting caught out again.
Doesn't have that ult available, so keep your eyes on that. He's got to wait for that cooldown if he wants to try to make any crazy plays. However, the Kennen and Skarner able to recall, get back to the base. And now the question is, where does Skarner use this Rift Herald that he's got? Is it going to be in that mid lane to try to secure that first turret in that mid? Or is it going to be on that top side, get some gold back into the pockets of this Kennen? Oh, hold on. Vladimir getting a little bit of play in that mid lane against the Ahri. He's going to be shoved backwards. However, I believe he still has full available. Throws out the Hemoblade. Silvato backing away once that is out. So Vladimir, not too concerned. And I think Hecarim is just keep saying hi to this mid lane, trying to keep the Ahri from going down, but this is going to be her falling anyway. The flash from Dodo pops the damage. Ignite coming down as well. Didn't matter how many flashes or else you used, Ahri, you were gone.
Yeah, Flash Ignite.
Play on the bottom side. Glacial Fissure coming out. Skarner coming in as well. The Hecarim here, though, getting a fear onto the back line. However, the Jinx was golden with the stopwatch. Pants has to flash away. However, the Yogurt going to be dropping a little bit low. The Q from the Sivir is going to miss, so they're going to turn on the rest of the team. Goodbye, Jinx. Despite the golden stopwatch, still falls. And Maokai TPs to the bottom lane very late. It's actually Kennen who TPs in as well. We'll see what he can do. He's got the Slicing Maelstrom flashing in. The Braum trying to lock him down, but no, it's going to be the Sivir falling. They are going to finally find the stun with the Concussive Blows passive, but Yas will still pick up that kill. Hecarim in the meantime, though, the Morgana in the meantime found the Skarner? No, I'm getting confused who else died in that fight. So yeah, Skarner went down.
It was
Ari.
Sivir and Braum getting taken down from the Tortugas side in exchange for Kennen and Skarner being picked off on Iridescence's side.
Yeah, so the Kennen went in super aggressively with that Slicing Maelstrom, but what I missed was Grey Anatomy, the Auri, making the roam from the mid lane down to the bottom side, catching Skarner as he was trying to leave that fight. So it ended up actually being a 3-for-2 because the Jinx went down as well. So again, a small advantage for the side of the Tortugas. However, that gold is still practically even between the two teams because despite all of these plays, they're still losing out so heavily in the CS department, in the mid lane, and in the jungle.
Well, I'm actually surprised that Maokai is slightly ahead in CS, but with Kennen being piloted by Yasuo, having 4 deaths so far, I guess it's to be expected since you're out of lane so much.
As I said in the chat, we'll see if they drop that Rift Herald. There's about a quarter of the timer left on that available for Skarner, so he's got still some time to make a roam to whatever lane it is that he wants to drop it. Could always hit that recall button and head back immediately. However, he's coming to the bottom side, see if he can maybe make a play onto the Sivir once again. Spell Shield should still be available for Pants, and Braum has done a fantastic job of keeping her safe. Bot lane party time with the aggressive play before. I thought he had flashed to get the Glacial Fissure down to knock up the Jinx, but instead it was just to stand behind me. As in the mid lane, a little bit of charm onto the Vladimir, but man, he is taking no damage from this Ahri.
Oh, Vladimir, you sustain quite a bit.
Braum throwing out the Glacial Fish to the bottom lane, flashing, using the sand behind me to get to the Sivir. Now has to back away the Impale from the Skarner. Decided not to use it on the Sivir as she has been spell shielding that whole time. So he's forced to back away and a failed gank by Yogurt.
I still think we might see a continuation. Skarner popping the Rift Herald.
Oh, no one there to stop it. The ultimate Glacial Fissure from the Braum was already used, and they knew that there was nothing else that the Braum could do to stop that Rift Herald, so we'll see how much damage they can get down as all that gold might go onto the ADC. Slicing Maelstrom by the Kennen at the top side. Will it save him? No, it will not. There's Shelly knocking down some place at the bottom side. However, the plates are already gone as we are past that 14-minute mark, so it's just some damage onto the turret. They can turn on to carry. Alright, flashing forward, cannot find, or using the ultimate, so easy to jump forward. Cannot find the charm onto the Sivir, plus she was Black Shield by Morgana, so it wouldn't have landed anyway. Again, both these teams making some aggressive plays, not always finding themselves the kills, though.
Yeah, with Vladimir, I thought we were going to see a re-engage with Vladimir coming down, not getting anything out of activating the Proto Belt, unfortunately, for the side of Iridescence. But I think a little bit of a missed opportunity there from Iridescence's side, waiting until after the plates were expiring to pop the Rift Herald.
Yeah, a little bit late there, just some mistiming on that. So Shelly not being that useful for Iridescence is the Mountain Drake, the second Drake of the game, started up by Tortugas. We saw both the Drakes last game. Through Mega Death Rocket from Jinx once again trying to seal it away, unable to do so. Hecarim maybe considering hopping over the wall for the Jinx. She's going to take the Blast Cone to safety and get out. So now, instead of last game where we were tied up in Drakes, we have double Mountain Drakes on the side of the Tortugas. So they're looking pretty good this game. They're only up 1,000 gold, but they're playing more confidently, and that's what you want to see from a team that got decimated game 1.
Almost all of it is on the back of Savado. Where he was, I believe, 0 and 5 in the first game. We're seeing that completely turned around. 6 and 0 so far on the Hecarim.
Yeah, doing a really, really good job. He's got 600 gold bounty on his head. The only member of his team that has not died. But I gotta say, gotta give credit to Taiho in this top lane Maokai. He's gotten to a point where he feels a little bit comfortable. Still hasn't completed any major item yet, but he's playing a little bit more forward in the lane. They're doing a better job of keeping eyes on that Skarner so that he can just grab that farm and then join his team for the plays. As we see another attempt in the bottom lane coming out, we'll see which member Morgana decides to Black Shield. It is herself for the moment. She's gonna throw out those corrupting chains as well. Tide might be going down. No, they heal from Carry, keeping the Morgana alive. They're turning onto the Skarner. He's going in. We'll see if the damage comes through. The rockets from Jinx are doing a massive job of damage. However, the Hecarim flashing forward, looking for the Jinx. She might be going down. They're turning onto Yoga. The Silver flashing forward, throws out the auto attack and gets the kill. And now Vladimir making his own play in the mid lane, drops the damage with the Hemo Plague and the Ignite. You've definitely found yourself a kill. Vladimir going golden to avoid the turret damage. Still knocked back by the Maokai. Gonna get a little bit of help there, but Taiho with no other damage abilities has to walk away. And Jinx is able to make it out after a flight through the bottom side jungle.
We're going to see a little bit of a race here. I think Tortugas, even though they lost a little bit on that exchange, they're going to get the first turret before Yasuo on the Kennen able to finish off the top turret.
And you can see this Maokai with the roam to the mid lane to try to help out that Ahri a little bit too late, but keeps the Vladimir from doing much damage to the turret, and then able to make it back to the top side to save that turret as well, even though it's just a sneeze and a half away from falling.
Well, there's a difference. That first turret gold adds up. Denying the standing gold to the enemy team, you're up about 1,500 gold right now for the Tortugas. This is a stark contrast from them being roughly 6,000 gold or more behind at this similar stage of the previous game.
Yeah, last game was the epitome of a snowball. This one's been a little bit more of a slugfest between the two teams. 15 kills total, 10 on the side of those Tortugas. And now with those turrets starting to fall, we'll see if they can make the same sort of plays, but grouped up as well. And that means you got to keep your eyes on these TPs. There's no teleport available for the Vladimir, as he doesn't have it. However, both TPs on the side of Tortugas, the Ahri and the Maokai, have it up and available if they want to try to group for something.
Yeah, I think Kennen and Maokai... Oh, Maokai's a little too far forward here.
Ooh, great knockback. Now the TP coming in from the Ahri. See if she can maybe help to make a play. Ooh, the flash and the root from the Maokai, slicing Maelstrom from the cannon, forcing out the ultimate from the Ahri. She's going to have to use that Spirit Rush to avoid a bunch of damage to the Skarner's coming in. But the ultimate from Maokai denies it. The Impale is used onto the Maokai, but he's being the frontline tank. Look at how much damage he's absorbing. He's going to get the passive heal as well. Morgana Q is going to miss. The Maokai finally falls. Tide picks it up. The Hecarim and the rest of the team are here, though, with the collapse. They can turn. The Ahri has fallen, but the Hecarim going to charge right through the enemy teams. Slice through them. Sivir picks up a double kill. However, the Hecarim is stuck underneath the turret with the Dark Bite from Morgana, and he will fall. And now they're going to turn onto Dodo, who's come and joined the fight. He should find himself a kill onto the Sivir, but he's going to go down as well. And in the end, it's a 4-4-4. Haha! For both teams.
Massive shutdowns on both sides coming through. Hecarim getting shut down. 900 gold going to Jinx directly, and unfortunately the Vladimir shutdown, which I believe was 750, is going into Braum's pockets instead of, well, ideally you would have liked Ahri to have gotten that kill.
Yeah, but either way, as you were saying, those shutdowns coming through, the Hecarim going down, I think... Did you already mention who got it?
Yeah, Jinx got that shutdown.
Yeah, sorry. I was distracted by what I was watching on the screen. So, yeah, with Jinx picking that up, she's able to complete the Infinity Edge now, so has those two solid items, Runeance Hurricane and that Infinity Edge, and the members of Iridescence heading around the Wind Drake that has spawned, just getting a little bit of vision control. Feeling a little bit better after that fight, because for most of the game, it seemed to be heavily in the side of the Tortugas' favor. And we'll see if Iridescence can start to make some of their own plays, as that Wind Drake will help them speed on into those fights and be able to collapse whenever the Tortugas are trying to do something.
Well, we're going to see a temporary lead develop for the Tortugas as Maokai finishes off the top turret. So we're going to see that standing gold collected by the Tortugas, as it looks like we're going to see a party in the river It looks like a Baron fight might be happening in the very near future.
That would be dangerous for Iridescence, considering that there's the double Mountain Drakes on the side of the Tortugas, so they could definitely try to steal it away. However, it's just playing for vision control, letting Cannon split push on the bottom side. You're talking about the standing goal of the turrets. That bottom lane first tier turret for the Tortugas is looking pretty brittle at the moment. We'll see if Cannon pushes in. It looks like Maokai has roamed down there to try to stop that, and he's got himself a TP as well, so not going to be too concerned about joining a team if there is any major plays around the Baron. Cannon's got his TP up available. So we'll see.
Here comes Hecarim.
Oh, great charm.
Have a flank.
Yeah.
Well, looks like
If the Skarner had gone in there looking for that impaled, the Hecarim probably would have come from behind and tried to have a big team fight. However, because of the charm from Ahri that stopped that engage, basically said, all right, don't worry about a Hecarim. We'll wait until maybe they're fighting underneath the turret now. Skarner stepping forward, but the turret may be already gone. The Dark Binding's going to land onto the Sivir. He tries to spell shield, forced to flash away. The Hemoblade going to drop her down to about half health. Morgana jumping in, throwing down the ultimate, going golden, but it's only going to root up the Braum for a moment. The Hecarim charging into the backside, but he is immediately wiped out. The Maokai is here. He's rooted up multiple members. However, the rest of the team is falling apart. The Sivir is still at half health, trying to do what he can, but this the Cannon is going slicing through the rest of the back of the line of the team, and now Maokai is still at full health, playing the front line tank, doing what he can. Pants spell shielding the stun from the Cannon, throwing out that Q, forcing the Cannon to go golden. A couple more auto attacks will take him down. Double kill for the Sivir. 5, 2, and 7, and the side of the Tortugas win a absolutely crazy fight.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think the Tortugas need to do right now. Just 5 stack up and say, all right, here comes our death ball, deal with it. Iridescence not equal to the task. Even though they did absolutely dumpster the Hecarim, they had nothing left when it came to sustaining the fight. And it looks like we're going to see another turret go the side of Tortugas.
And that is all exterior turrets for the Tortugas. They've got themselves still a 1,000 gold lead, but the fact that they haven't been able to grow that lead is concerning. And when you look at the member who survived from the side of Iridescence, that Vladimir, 4, 1, and 2, 3, as he just completes the Zhonya's 3 major items completed. He is feeling pretty good this game. 225 CS overall, doing fantastically, and still has a high chance of actually carrying this game. He just needs to make sure that that Sivir actually dies in the team fight. He tried to focus her a little bit, but because of the Hecarim coming in and then the Maokai coming in, couldn't solely focus the Sivir down, and that allowed Pants to actually do a ton of damage in that fight.
Yeah, it looks like we might see a re-engage here. Iridescence trying to take the fight to the Tortugas.
Cannon's got the Slicing Maelstrom up in a moment. He's going to be waiting on that cooldown from Lightning Rush before going back in. Hecarim around the corner as well. He has been seen by that ward, so they know he's there. Maokai coming in around the corner as well. So we might see a very similar fight to what we just saw happen with the collapsing Maokai and the Hecarim. Dodo decides not to go in for the fight, instead to try to look for a play on the side lane as the team is split up, so Sivir will call on the hunt. However, they're going to turn onto the Vladimir. He's going to pool, see if he can survive for a moment longer. The Jinx around the corner, able to shoot over the wall, get a little bit damage down onto Taiho. However, the Cannon going in with the Slicing Maelstrom. He's got 3 members. The Ahri is still alive. So is the Sivir, doing what damage they can. The Maokai might be tanky, but he will still fall. The Braum now has to protect the Sivir, and the Sivir alone, as the rest of the team has fallen. Sivir splits off to the side, dealing a couple more auto attacks, but it's not nearly enough damage. And ladies and gentlemen, Iridescence comes back huge and win a 4-for-1 fight.
Yeah, Vladimir getting caught out there, but just kind of going, nah, you guys took the bait, haha, gotcha. And it looks like Iridescence turning on to Baron. They're not going to delay this for 10 seconds for Kennen to come back. So it looks like a 4-member power play. Baron going over to Iridescence Gaming.
Yeah, and so one of the things you look at in that last fight, right? How critical was it that the Vladimir delayed? You saw him using the pool, then using the Zhonya's, he is a tanky champion, not just because of the stats, but because of the heals. He survives a fight in which basically all 5 members of the Tortugas are jumping on him. However, what it allows him to do as he's sitting there delaying for the team, Jinx is free firing those rockets over the wall. She's got the Runeance Hurricane as well, so it is damage falling onto all members of the Tortuga. And then Skarner comes speeding in from the mid lane, causing the members of the Tortugas to scatter everywhere. And when they're not fighting as a group, they're not fighting as a party, they lose all sense of focus, and without that, they just fall apart.
Now, one thing that there is a silver lining for the Tortugas, although unfortunately I think it's about to go away in about 15 seconds.
Well, Maokai's pretty tanky. Over 3,000 health. He'll be able to absorb about 1,000 of that and walk away for the moment. Ari getting a little bit poke over the wall, trying to maybe steal away the Scuttle Crab. Can't do it, though. And the members of Iridescence continuing to win in these fights. Impaled down for another 60 seconds.
Now, what I was actually referring to was the Vladimir and the Kennen both used their hourglass in that last fight before they claimed the Baron. Unfortunately, for the Tortugas, those hourglasses are both back up and online. So Kennen and Vladimir are threat level maximum right now for Iridescence Gaming, and I think this is starting to fall out of control for the Tortugas at this point.
Yeah, and they need to actually find something to get back into the game. They're down 2,000 gold, and while the game was fairly even for most of it, the Vladimir, as we said, is still going to scale massively into the later stages of the game. You just can't handle a super late game Vladimir, and the side of Iridescence have done a fantastic job of not losing sight of that fact. They have just delayed, they have let this Vladimir scale. He's 6-1-4 now, and he is their calling card for winning the game. Let the Kennen go in with that ultimate. Even if he dies, he stuns up the rest of the team and lets Vladimir be that cleanup crew, and he will destroy all of the Tortugas, who are now mounting a defense 4v5 in the mid lane as the second tier turret is under fire against all 5 members with Baron from the side of Iridescence. Sorry, 4 members. Kennen doesn't have it.
Well, to go back to Kennen, that's exactly the blueprint for Iridescence to win these team fights. They prolong the team fight. Vladimir got caught out, but once Kennen came in, he locked down 3 members with that slicing maelstrom, and it turned the fight. And now you see the result of that previous fight with the siege here in the mid lane for Iridescence Gaming.
Yeah, mid lane turret down to about half health. Braum trying to use that Unbreakable to absorb his measure. Vladimir straight to the back line. There he goes, flashing in. Got the Hemo Plague. Look for the kill. However, the charm will slow him down. He cannot bully, so he's going to go golden instead. And now in the back line, Maokai doing what he can with the CC, but it's not going to be near it. And now, slicing Maelstrom from Kennen. Everyone's going golden on the side of Iridescence, and everyone's going off the map for the side of the Tortugas, as 2 members will head back with the death timers. The mid lane second tier turret has fallen. The inhibitor turret will fall. So will the inhib. They have still a couple moments that they can maybe grab something else as well. No Baron, as it has fallen off. They're going to tank a couple of turret shots as they head to the bottom lane second tier turret. Skarner will just tank it away, allowing his team to get through to pull this wave in and start to take down yet another structure.
Oh, that team fight could have gone so differently. Hecarim, Salvado used his ultimate and pushed Vladimir back toward his team. Hecarim, if he would have waited just a little bit, could have pushed Vladimir the entire opposite way back into the Tortugas team and isolated him away. And I believe that changed the entire team fight completely out of the Tortugas' favor at that point.
And yet again, it is a mirror of what happened in the last fight, right? Everyone turns to try to focus on the Vladimir. He goes golden. He goes into the pool. He is just fine. When he comes out, he's got a massive heal with that Hemo Plague as well. And he lets everyone burn all of their spells, trying to focus him down, which then allows Kennen to come in on top of everyone else, smash with the Slicing Maelstrom. And now we may be able to see it again as the Maokai's caught out. He's been rooted up by the Flame Chompers. The Braum ultimate is called to try to disengage the fight, and they have been able to do that for now. However, the Baron is going to be coming up in under a minute, and so things are just looking absolutely critical for the members of the Tortugas.
Yeah, this is definitely a spot that's very dangerous for the Tortugas. They've got eyes on Hecarim, so this is going to be really bad.
Yeah, the Impale, he's gonna flash away, throw out the ultimate as well, so he will live. But Super Mega Death Rocket chases him down and picks him up. Who needs Baron when you can walk through the enemy team base? Ladies and gentlemen, they're 6,000 gold ahead. Iridescence decimated game 1. It's been a little bit of a struggle for game number 2, but they're looking solid as they're trying to go for the top lane inhibitor turret. They're making a play once again onto Vladimir. Maokai stunned up for a moment. He cannot take the damage coming out of blue team. And now they can continue to harass away onto the turret. The Baron is live at under 30 seconds, but they're focused instead on just picking members' health off and looking for this top lane inhibitor. If you've got double inhibitor waves pushing this, slicing Maelstrom from Kennen is gonna go in. Find stun onto 3 members. Grey Anatomy, the only member left alive for the moment, but Vladimir wants to change that. Stepping forward, going to the pool to chase underneath the Nexus turrets. He doesn't even care. The charm will miss. He throws out a bit more damage with the E and Q. He might actually find himself going down. Goes golden. Let in the rest of his team. Take down that top lane inhibitor. Salvado's engage has been squashed. And Grey Anatomy still throwing out a little bit of harassment. Instead, the side of Iridescence is looking for the victory. They're going to be taking away the minions. They're going to be focusing on the Nexus turrets. They've gotten one down. They're focusing on the second one. Ahri and Hecarim watch as the Nexus falls. And ladies and gentlemen, what looked like a game in which the Tortugas might be able to find a way to actually win, it is going to be Iridescence going up 2-0 against the Tortugas.
That was a turnaround. Wow. That's really all I can come up with here. I'm thinking this whole game, Hecarim's getting...
he was 5-0 at one point.
Oh, 6-0, actually.
Yeah, you're right.
And he ends the game 6-4. So we see... I don't know if it was the Hecarim falling off or more the Vladimir coming online and saying, okay, bring it.
I think it was a combination of both, and the fact that from the side of Iridescence, their group team play looked so good. Game number 1, their laning phase won, and the team fights won. Game number 2, the laning phase definitely struggled. The Hecarim ganks were fantastic from the side of the Tortugas, but then when you looked at those team fights, the actual focus from the side of the Tortugas was on the wrong people and split apart throughout the entire members of Iridescence, not just taking down one member at a time. You got to pick your targets and you got to pick them carefully. And because they didn't, the Tortugas in those fights just continued to struggle. They weren't able to take down the Vladimir, who at that point, look at his scoreline at the end, 7-1-8, untouchable after the early phases of the game. Continued to just absorb so much pressure, as well as allowing the rest of the team to just walk all over the members of the Tortugas.
Yeah, definitely Iridescence playing a little bit of In Vladimir We Trust. I was actually surprised that Yasuo was so easily mitigated early on in the game with Taiho and Savado both teaming up to score, I believe, 4 kills early on against the Kennen. I did not see things going quite that way. The good thing for Tortugas is I think they see the blueprint for how they can potentially take Game 3. Keep with the aggressive jungler, a Hecarim, a Xin Zhao, just an aggressive jungler. I'd like to see something more aggressive in the top lane. Taiho has been on 2 tanks so far and doesn't seem to be working right now. I'd like to see, like we mentioned before, perhaps an Alawi might fit a little better in the top lane against the aggression being brought by Yasuo.
Yeah, once again, that echoes back to the draft, the pick and ban phase. Now, this game a little bit better for the Tortugas in the bottom lane. You look at that Sivir, 24,000 damage, matching the Vladimir in overall damage throughout that game. Great pressure, great damage. But again, the team was not there to peel, and they usually fell apart. Maybe it's the comms, maybe it's something else going on, we don't know. But from the side of the Tortugas, they have one shot next game to try to find some way to get back in these games. games find some crucial breadcrumb that will give them victory and potentially start a reverse sweep, because otherwise they are out and it will be Iridescence heading into the finals tomorrow against Scum Gang. We'll have to see if they can figure something out, but we're going to take a quick break and be right back with game number 3. You do not want to touch that browser.